that's why I started Executive Moms, is to train managers and HR teams and leaders on how to actually support working moms coming back from maternity leave. It's the language and structure and support that managers provide when you come back from leave that makes or breaks it.
Welcome to Women Thrive Season 5. This season, you can expect incredible conversations with women from all around the world. We at Women Thrive, not only do we put on incredible conversations with women, host events, retreats, publish a magazine, publish books, and we have created a platform for every woman to shine and share her message. So you right now tapping into a podcast that is globally recognized as the place for women to be and share their message. Be inspired, be part of the conversation, and let's thrive together.
So, hi everyone, and welcome to our latest episode of the Women Thrive podcast. We're so excited to start this brand new series and interview the most amazing women from all around the world. My name is Abigail Rebecca. I am the co-host of the podcast with the Women Thrive founder, Ramonda Jan, and we are so excited to bring the most amazing inspirational stories to you this season. And today's guest is no exception. I would love to introduce you to Alexa Starks, who is a re-entry strategist, leadership expert, and founder of Executive Mums, where she helps companies redesign the return to work experience after maternity leave. A seasoned leader with over a decade in operations and advertising technology, Alexa blends database strategy with lived experience to address one of the most overlooked culture gaps in the workplace, reentry. Her signature program, the Reentry Blueprint, equips managers and teams with the tools, language, and systems to support working parents and, most importantly, retention, keep them. Alexa, it's so wonderful to have you here. Welcome to the podcast.
I'm so happy to be here. So excited. And I'm all about spreading the word and trying to help other powerful women and powerful moms thrive in motherhood and careers. So I'm super happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And yeah, I feel that. I really feel your heart. I remember the first time we connected when we were discussing the possibility of you joining us as a speaker on the Women Thrive Summit. And you're so passionate about what you do. That really stood out for me, not just through the lived experience, your own personal experience, but also witnessing the trials and tribulations, let's say, of other women who have really experienced maybe not the best way that things are handled when they've returned to work. And also what I really love about what you do is that you really give other women like language that they can use to be able to set their boundaries and stand up for themselves, and also the confidence to do so. So I'm so excited that we have you, first of all, as a speaker.
Yes, I'm super excited.
On the Women Thrive Summit and also on our podcast today. So if you're watching this and you are a mum, a soon-to-be mum, and with an interest actually in how you can create a better experience in the workplace, but especially when you're returning to work after mat leave, then Alexa is such a wonderful expert in this, so experienced, and we're going to be sharing all her details below and ways that you can connect in with her. So Alexa, I think first of all, let's start at the very beginning. What is it that has inspired you to do the work that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think first and foremost, I'm a mom to two little toddlers. I have a 2.5-year-old son and a 1.5-year-old daughter. And when I had my kids, I feel like my whole life became redefined by motherhood. And many moms will feel the same way, this identity shift of motherhood. And I had, before that, had this huge ambition of career growth. I wanted to be in the C-suite one day. I wanted to grow my career. I was like, oh, okay, next year I'm going to go for a VP promotion. And I had like my career mapped out and what I wanted to do and the impact I wanted to make. And then I had my kids, and I unfortunately didn't have any support coming back from maternity leave, right? We had in the US, I got 3 months off of paid leave, but no support when I came back. There was no conversation, there was no ramp up plan. It was just, you're back on day two, read your 10,000 emails on day one, and you're back on day two. Here's your projects, here's where things are, and you're good to go, right? And with my daughter, with my second kid, she had really bad reflux for until she was about 7 months old. It kind of started to peak. And so she'd be projectile throwing up on me like 6, 7 times a day. And we took her to get ultrasounds, and we would drive like an hour and a half away because it was the only place to get an ultrasound. And it was really brutal. And there'd be so many days where I was visibly upset. I'd have to drop a meeting really quickly, like, oh, I'm so sorry, my daughter just projectile threw up on everywhere. And she'd be wailing. And I was visibly struggling, but nobody said anything. Nobody was like, hey, do you need to like push any meetings? Like, do you need to can we talk about your capacity? Like, I see you're struggling. I see you're having a hard time. Let's talk about what would be helpful right now. Nobody said that. And I ended up just really having a hard time trying to still prove that I could take on all this work. And I wanted to eventually get promoted and build up my career, but I was trying to do so much, struggling and also show that I wasn't struggling and take on all this work. And it was really hard. And so that's why I started Executive Moms, is to train managers and HR teams and leaders on how to actually support working moms coming back from maternity leave. Because it's language, it's culture. It's not about policy. Your policy is whatever your maternity leave policy is. It is what it is. It's the language and structure and support that managers provide when you come back from leave that makes or breaks it. And that's just human behavior. And so that's what I'm passionate about. And that's what I'm doing with Executive Moms, is teaching managers how to support and giving other working moms the language to advocate for themselves as well.
Thank you for sharing, Alexa, and your story. It's interesting. I'm writing some things down as you're speaking because there's so many things that I want to ask you. And I know that our audience will really want to know as well about your work and just about this whole conversation, because it's so important. If we're speaking about empowering women, it's empowering all women. And as women, we go through so many seasons in our lives, and it's such a big transition and transformation for a woman to have a child, to go through that whole like growing the baby, birthing the baby, and then God forbid if you want to go back to work and like be successful and to play all those different roles. And I remember when we were having our first conversation and then subsequent conversations, it really triggers things in my mind because my background is corporate and I manage big teams. I was in the travel industry, so the majority of my teams were women that were off having babies. And even though I believe that the company policy were very fair to women who are on maternity leave and returning back, I then have to question myself as a manager, was I fair? Did my opinion change? Did my perception change? And I wrote down here unconscious bias.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes with the very best intentions in the world, we can be really supportive and rooting for other people, but there are still like these, I don't know, like these filters that we can look at through life. And maybe, I'm not saying that I felt like, I mean, I look back and I think about myself and I'm like, actually, I think I was really supportive, but who knows? Like, who knows? There are perceptions, I believe, still very much in society that baby brain is a term, right? That you can kind of put this, I don't know, mark on someone and be like, okay, they're not as effective, or they're not going to be here as much, they're not as dependable. How do you even start with something like that? Because the culture change is so huge. Like, where do you start, Alexa?
Yeah, I love this question because one, I think this shows your self-awareness as a manager, which is a skill that every manager should have, because you think you're supportive, but you don't know, right? If you don't get feedback, if you were or you weren't, that's hard. But I think the big thing about when you're returning from maternity leave is you need to treat it like you're re-onboarding, as if it's day one. If you hired a new person to your team, you wouldn't expect them to be at 100% on day two of starting a new job, right? You have a whole onboarding plan of let's meet and greet these people. Let's kind of introduce you to the workflow. Here's our systems. Here's what the org looks like. Here's some, like you have a whole onboarding plan. You set up maybe 30, 60, 90-day goals. Maybe at 90 days, they're expected to be at 100% working. But that's not how we treat working moms, right? We treat them as like, hey, you're back. You're the same person as you were before you left and had a baby, right? So you can be doing everything you were doing before on day two, right? You're good to go back. And that's not true. That's not accurate. And I think the other thing is your capacity and your workload on, let's say, 2 weeks back from maternity leave. Like when my baby's 3.5 months, let's say I'm 2 weeks back from leave, my workload capacity is going to be so different than 6 months from now, or even 4 months from now, right? It's a totally different baby. That brain fog has maybe gone away or lessened. And so my capacity is so different. And so I think yes, having brain fog is real. Many women had it. I had it. And I was struggling 3 months back or when I came back and my baby was 3 months old. But at 6 months later, I was moving and grooving. Like I wanted to take on more work. So that's, I think, the big difference is recognizing that, sure, maybe they are struggling a little bit or they need a full re-onboarding plan when they first come back from leave. But then there's going to be a time where that's gone and they can be at 100% capacity again. That's what we have to recognize.
And also, I think the terminology, you're saying, yeah, brain fog is real, but I don't know. I just feel like there's such a negative connotation put on it. It's like it can sometimes be used as a weapon or something to kind of like disparage someone. And I'm like, oh my goodness, she's just grown a human being. Like, seriously, hello. Like,
Yeah.
how would you feel when that's happened? Right. So it's also to be like, okay, this is something that happens and it's good, and we'll facilitate it and we'll mediate it, and
Mm-hmm.
this too shall pass, right?
I love that because I had brain fog, but also in the middle of a moment, I'd be like, oh, I can't think of the word I want to say. And I'd be frustrated. But also my brain was like, okay, I fed my baby at this time. She's taking a nap from this time. If she sleeps from this time to this time, then I need to feed her at this time. So that means I need to start pumping at this time because it takes me X amount of time to start pumping. And so then I'm going to wake her up at this, right? Like my brain's thinking all of that. And so if it forgets a word, you just see brain fog. But my brain is like going 100 miles an hour. And one word is like, we don't need that. Like, move on, find another word.
Exactly. Let's use these. I think also humor around it, not to, it's just, I love that as well. You do kind of, you bring a humor to the subject as well, which is always important when we're going through change, not to get too overwhelmed by it. And like you say, you're juggling all the things, but also we've had this conversation already, haven't we? It Aren't we amazing as women to be able to multitask, to be able to wear all these hats, to be able to be the mother, be the supportive partner, be the career woman, be the leader, be the speaker, like all of these things that we are juggling. Me personally, I feel like it makes that person even more credible when they're able to juggle all the things.
It does. It does. And I talk about that all the time as, your new motherhood skills. And you develop emotional intelligence and resilience and multitasking and perseverance and discipline and all these leadership skills that if you looked up and Googled top leadership skills, those are going to be the top ranked ones. And those are all the ones you've developed in your new motherhood life and how to multitask in newborn and toddlerhood and multiple babies and all these things you're building as a mom. And it's
Yeah.
amazing.
I think Ramonda Jan, our Women Thrive founder, will be watching this because she will be juggling the toddlerhood and the new babyhood very, very soon as we're recording
Mm.
this. So take notes, Ramonda. I know she listens to every single podcast. What is the most common thing that you witness when you're going out into the workplace and you're working with organizations to be able to support women in this way?
Yeah, I think so. What I've seen in my workshops is that managers want to support. They're not trying to be unhelpful. They want to support their employees, but they just don't know how. They don't know what to say. So they end up not saying anything at all and hope that the new mom figures it out. And the new mom doesn't know what to say either. If the manager's like, let me know what you need, the new mom is like, well, I don't know what you could do to help. Right. And so they both end up at this stalemate where the manager wants to support, employee wants help, but doesn't know what to say. And so that's what I've seen is that the managers are super eager and excited to have this language and that they know will actually support their people so that they can thrive and not burn out because they don't want to lose their team. Now they got to hire someone, they're losing productivity. Like it's a whole mess when you could just have the language that will support them. And these new moms, on the other hand, as well, on the other side, they appreciate having the language of what to say so that they can advocate for themselves and say, hey, I'm way over capacity this week. Is there anything that you think we can align on that we can push to maybe next week or the week after? Or is there something that a project that we can pass up to someone else? I'm overwhelmed this week. And creating that shared language to create a positive experience between the two of them. So in my workshops, that's the best piece of feedback I've received, honestly, is how helpful it is having simple language for them both to use.
I love that you're having that experience, Alexa, because I like to think that most people in this world have got best intention at heart. And sometimes we can mess up and get things wrong and not do things the way that maybe they could be. But this communication piece is so important, right? Because if we can ask feedback and ask questions and keep the conversation going and open and be approachable as managers, to be approachable to teams, and then as women returning back to work to be open to being questioned and being able to give honest feedback, then that best intention will turn into something really supportive for everyone involved, because obviously we want a win-win situation. Surely in all these scenarios, I would think that the companies, the corporations that you work with, they want to retain, they want that retention. So this is also a way that they can not only support their workforce, but also retain them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you look at just a business perspective, it costs almost 2 times a salary to rehire someone, right? And that's everything from losing their productivity, they're burning out, they're not as productive, they're losing revenue. So now they quit, and now you have hiring costs, and you have to promote, and then you hire someone in that lost time that it takes till you hire someone, and then that person has to ramp up. So from just a purely business perspective, there is a real cost behind losing a working mom simply because there's no language that a manager doesn't have the words to say to support. Like that's a culture problem. It's a simple problem and simple solution in my mind. It's just language. And especially because the feedback I've been getting is that managers want to support their people. It's not like you have a bunch of managers who are like, screw them. Like they want to help. And these companies are like, we don't want to lose our people, right? And so that's so key, is that just this genuine, we want to keep our people, we want to invest our people, we see value in them. And how do we do that? And it's just a shared language. Simple problem, simple solution.
In your experience, Alexa, how many women actually return to work and then just have such a bad experience and it's just awful, and then they have to leave? Like, how many women actually leave? It
Yeah.
must be a high number, right?
It's high in the sense that I've spoken with probably close to almost 100 women, and so many of them, well over 75%, have bad return to work experiences. And many suffer through it because they don't have an option to quit, right? But I think the real statistic is about 1 in 3 women quit their jobs within a year after returning from maternity leave. That's a lot. It's a high, high number, actually. And the amount of women that stay end up staying a lot of time because they have to. Your health insurance in the US, your health insurance is tied to your job the majority of the time, right? And you need income to pay for daycare or schooling, and diapers cost $1 billion, right? And so you end up with women who aren't thriving and are forcing their way to continue every day, but are, again, quietly burning out and struggling. And then women who are forced to leave and say, hey, can't do this. I'm going to quit, stay at home with the kids, or they find another job where it is supportive and they do have a better manager. Or many women, like we've talked with, that start their own company. They're like, I want a supportive culture. Nobody's going to support me better than me. So I'm going to become an entrepreneur because they didn't have that original support. So 1 in 3 women is a lot of women.
Yeah. That's great. That's crazy numbers. 1 in 3. I didn't even expect it to be that high. Okay. So I know that you're someone that can get the job done. Let's change this. Let's change the statistics. I mean, obviously,
Yes.
if you want to leave and become an entrepreneur, then we're all for that.
Yeah.
But like there's some people don't want to do that. They love their jobs. I would think a lot of women absolutely love their jobs. They have a change in circumstances. They're going to have a baby. They want to come back. They want to be supported. They still love their jobs. So if I was listening to this and I was, I don't know, HR director at so and so company, and I'm like, yeah, okay, let's get Alexa in. We really need to be able to shed more light on this and support our managers to support our workforce. What would we expect from you in terms of the way that you would work with your corporate clients and support in that way through your workshops?
Yeah. So the workshop is a virtual workshop, and I try to keep it to about 30 people per workshop. So that may mean multiple workshops if it's a large company, but that way it's an interactive workshop, right? And so the best way people learn information is by multiple steps, right? You read it, you read about something, and then you reflect on your own experience and then implement it. And so that's the workshop. I'm not preaching, I'm not presenting at you for 2.5 hours. It's a little bit of some slides and information about empathy and language that is supportive versus not supportive, and then real interaction. And I use Miro as an interactive board with a lot of like sticky notes. And so I actually have the managers, the people going into Miro and practicing language with real reentry scenarios, right? I have entry scenario 1, right? Working moms going through X experience. What is supportive language that a manager could say? What is not supportive language, right? And then reentry scenario B. And so it's actual time that they get to practice what is supportive language that they could say and get real-time feedback on that language. So I love working with corporations on building this out to their company. What do they currently have in place with their policy so I can tailor it? Okay, you have 8 weeks of leave. Well, at 8 weeks as a new mom, it looks different than if you have 4 months of paid leave, right? And so kind of matching that with the company. So the first step is obviously just hopping on a call with me and seeing what we can do to bring this to your company.
I love that, Alexa. I know that the majority of your clients are American, right? Based in the States. Do you work with companies globally, or like how is that set up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with companies globally. I had a UK client a couple weeks ago. I had a US client a couple weeks ago. So definitely open to global. I know maternity leave in the US is not standard across the board if you have it at all, compared to many other European countries where there is a better maternity leave policy. But again, policy is not the problem. It's the return experience that's the problem. So that's why I work with clients globally.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the big standout for me with our conversation, because you kind of think your brain goes to logically, well, you just need to put the right policy in and then everyone's going to be supportive, like HR involved. But actually, no, it's a huge culture change. And it is down to people and perception and communication and just making sure that everyone feels very confident and competent having those conversations. So the support is there for all parties. It's such a good point. If on the flip side, someone was listening to this, so I'm listening to this, I'm a new mum, I had a very successful corporate career. I've got children projectile vomiting over me. And I'm trying to write my end of month report.
Hmm.
What would you say? And obviously, I didn't have that support. What would you say would be some good first steps in order to, for me to be able to empower myself to start to change the situation that I'm in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first step is self-awareness. What are you struggling in? Is it your capacity? Is it your like workload? Is it your ability to handle a certain specific project or work with some people? And so self-awareness of what is the problem? What are you struggling with? And in your ideal world, what would you like to have happen? And then talking with your manager in an open way and just saying, being very forthcoming and honest and saying, I'm struggling. What I would like to do is continue working XYZ project or workload, but I need to manage my work. Like, so it really depends on what your problem is. And I talk about this, I actually have a great PDF for this for working moms. And I think I'll give you the link so that you can include it in the show notes as well. But it's language about this, about what to say so that you sound like you're still invested, you're still successful, you still want to do what you're doing. You just need some support. And so I think the first step is just that self-awareness of what are you struggling with? An ideal scenario, what would you like the outcome to be? And then talking with your manager about here's what I would like the ideal scenario, ideal outcome to be. How can you support me in that?
That's fantastic, Alexa. Thank you so much. And yes, we will share that. So if you head over to the show notes, which will be down below this, you'll be able to click the link that will then take you through to Alexa's website where you can download the PDF from there. What's your vision for the future, Alexa? I know that you have got a big mission and a big vision in this world. Where would you like to see things go in terms of that support system for women returning to work?
Yeah, I think it's a more empathetic and supportive workplace. And the ripple effects of this workshop is increased empathy and support from managers for everybody, right? There's plenty of people who go through life transitions, life changes. You've got the, what is it, sandwich caregiving, where you're maybe supporting your aging parents. And so there's a lot of challenges that humans go through throughout their life and could really use a manager who knows how to support and just how to say, hey, what can I help take off your plate? I see that you're having a hard time. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your workload. What would be helpful for me? And here's what I can do. And so, ideal scenario is obviously working moms don't feel forced to quit their job. They feel that they can manage baby life and new motherhood and their ambitious career. Because at the end of the day, I want to see more women in the top C-suite. I think it drops to like 20% or something, 20 to 30% of women are in the C-suite. That's really low. The rest are all men. And so the more that we can get more women to stay in their careers, they're not forced out, don't feel like they have to quit, the more we can have women in the top who can also normalize a systemic culture, a workplace environment filled with support, empathy, compassion that benefits everybody. Because we're all humans. We all go through life, whatever that obstacle and challenge is that we all go through eventually. And so that's my dream. Just better human environments.
I love that. We really support your vision. And yeah, it's like any ecosystem, isn't it? We need to support one another to thrive. Thank you so much for coming on and
Thank you for having
sharing.
me.
I just love what you do. I love your energy. I love the support and really this conversation needs to be had. And I love the fact that you're the one bringing the conversation to the table. Alexa, we're very excited to have you as a speaker on
Yeah, I'm so excited.
the summit. So as we're recording this, it's going to be next year, and the 2026 summit. I can't believe it's going to be
I know.
2026. Oh my God, it's
I
crazy.
can't believe it's already what? halfway through August.
I
That's
know.
bananas. It was just January, just February.
I know, it's crazy. It's going to be with us before you know it. It's a very quick process. We know from previous experiences, this is going to be our sixth summit. We're so excited to have you on the summit as a speaker. What is it that you were going to be sharing with us on the Women Thrive stage? Can you give us a little sneak peek?
Yeah, it's more of this specific language on how working moms can advocate for themselves so that we can create better workplace cultures. So I'm going to give you specific language that you can say to really advocate for yourself and normalize that what we go through as new moms is so common. And I had no village, I had no mom community. I felt like I was struggling all by myself, and I was. And so I want to share that all of what we're going through is so common experience, but we don't have to struggle, and we can have. And so I'm going to give you the language, the words, the scripts to advocate for yourself so that you aren't burning out silently by yourself.
Yeah, I really love that. Thanks. I'm really looking forward to your talk. So we've shared, so you have a free gift, we've shared that. That's going to be in the show notes below. Where can we find you on social media? Where do you hang out?
I'm mostly on LinkedIn. So Alexa Starks on LinkedIn. I am on Instagram. It's alexa.starks. And I share a lot of baby pictures and pictures of my kids. Trying to change that. But if you want to see pictures of adorable dimples and curly hair, please connect on Instagram.
I see them and your kids are super, super cute.
Oh, thank you. The dimples are just like I melt into a puddle when they smile. And my husband has dimples, and so they're definitely from him. But
They've inherited the dimples.
yep. Yep.
That's fantastic. Well, at least it's on brand. Like you're saying that there's a lot of like photos of your children. At least it's like it's on brand. It's not like your dog or your cat or something like
Right.
It's children themed.
It is. Yeah.
So we will put all of your social media links down below and your website as well. Please go and check out Alexa. And as Alexa was saying, don't ever think that you're on your own. Even if the situation feels so isolating, know that there are communities out here. There are people that will have your back. It's just a case of reaching out, getting that support, and definitely connecting with Alexa. Follow her, go download her free gift, because that will be a fantastic tool for you to be able to empower yourself in those situations. And above all, it's all very well me saying this sitting here without a child projectile vomiting over me. But enjoy the journey, because also, Alexa, this is a really special moment in your life, right? It's not going to this is not going to continue forever. So actually, once you can get your ducks in the row and be able to have that support, then surely you can just relax as much as you can.
Definitely.
Right? And enjoy motherhood, enjoy those dimples.
Yeah, exactly. Having that support helps you enjoy those moments more.
Wonderful. Well, Alexa, it's been an absolute pleasure having this conversation with you today. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you for agreeing to be a speaker on the Women Thrive stage. We're so excited to have you with us. And thank you for being a wonderful, wonderful guest on our podcast today.
Oh, thank you so much. So happy to be here and super excited to speak.
Thank you everyone for watching, for listening. I hope that you've enjoyed our episode today. Please reach out as always. If you have any questions, any aha moments, you can reach out to Alexa directly. We're going to share all her information down below. You can reach out to us here at Women Thrive. Please like and comment and star rate and give feedback on this podcast. Your support means so much to us. It's the reason that we are currently rating top 5% globally in our podcast. Hopefully we're going to be moving towards the top 2% very, very soon. But we very, very much appreciate your support and your interaction, not just with Women Thrive, but also with all of our wonderful speakers. Have a wonderful, wonderful day today, whatever you're doing, and we will see you on the next podcast.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Women Thrive Podcast. I'm so thankful for you as a listener for spending time with us, myself and my co-host Abigail, to hear our conversations with our guests. If you have had the opportunity to hear our podcast, do make sure you leave a review and share this episode with your audience as well. This has helped us reach the 5 top % globally ranked podcasts, as well as reach more than 30,000 downloads to date. Your support means so much to us, and this is how we get to reach more people around the world. At Women Thrive Media, we're here to amplify voices of women and empower women to take the center stage and shine a spotlight on their messages.